Well, it's come down to this. Two drivers to settle the regular season championship from what used to be called Motorsport, now Canadian Tire Motorsport Park in Bowmanville, Ontario. Tristan Bailey and Jason Fensler will decorate the front row once again in this final race of the regular season. 6 points, the difference between them headed into this 15th and final round of the regular season. Drivers coming out of Moss Corner and headed onto the Mario Andretti straightaway. What some drivers might call turns 6, 7, and 8, but just one massive, massive back straight. Have a look. See if we can get a, there we go. Have a look at, well, that's just the blimp cam. You can see it's quite a massive facility. There you see the trucks on the right side of your screen, just getting ready to go into the turn 8, 9, 10 complex, or the S's, if you will. I'm Rick James. You're here for 35 laps of truck racing from Canadian Tire Motorsports Park, and are we ready to bring the action? Tristan Bailey and Jason Fensler have the most wins between them all season. They're ready to do battle one more time before the playoffs start. Green flag is out. Let's go racing! Bailey and Fensler down into Moss Corner. That turn 4, 5, 6, that very tight double apex. You can bet plenty of drivers are going to lose their lunch and possibly even their tempers. Headed into Moss Corner, back up to the lead. Jason Fensler ahead of Tristan Bailey down the long straight. 5, 2, 5, 7, 8. Into that turn 8, everybody bringing all the speed into the corner. We'll see who makes it through. So far, so good. Everybody making it out nice and clean through the 7, 8, 9, and turn 10 complex at Canadian Tire. It's going to be, despite 35 laps, it's going to be a difficult race for these drivers. This man here, Tristan Bailey, comes in with a 6-point advantage into the regular season final, something that he has been more than adamant that he does not care about winning the regular season championship, but the aloof attitude fools no one. Bailey trying his hardest to put his name on that regular season title, something he cares about very, very much. No amount of reverse psychology can unpsych himself from the prospect of winning that title. Jason Fensler up ahead in that number 5, just tries to hold off Bailey. We'll see for how long drivers will choose to be patient in the exit of the Moss Corners. That's Waylon Turner and Jorge Rincon running 3rd and 4th. Drivers having to get a very careful exit. Mashing that gas could be the end of your run if you give it just a bit too much. How about Jamie Haynes? He mashed the gas at the right time. He's to the inside of Sammy Harrell, and he will clear Sammy Harrell down the Mario Andretti straightaway. Let's have a look earlier. Jamie Haynes. Look at the four-wheel drift. This is through turn number 1. He makes contact, and he goes for a big spill, but a good save by Haynes. Tristan Bailey running the quickest lap of the race in the 2 that we have completed. 124.27 seconds is the mark for the Mississippi driver. He follows the Californian leading. Patrick Jenks has had an incident. Tyler Tyone has also crashed in the number 80 Tundra this week, running the Tractix Racing paint scheme, and Jenks behind him The Pennsylvanian looking to overtake Tyone for the 14th position. Let's see what happened to Jenks. Did he just give it too much gas? Indeed he did. Bounces off that wall. Here's Tyler Tyone with the same problem that Jamie Haynes had a lap prior. Sam Taylor also running into trouble. The number 1 Coca-Cola machine finds himself in 7th. This is in Moss, I believe. It is in Moss. Taylor getting a bit too squirrely for his own good. The number 12 of Dylan Picklesmeyer passing him around. But Taylor makes it through okay. Half a second between Jason Fensler and Tristan Bailey. Jamie Haynes on the move once again. Here he goes on Michael Carter. The number 6 Scott's F-150 will go into the first corner now in 10th. The Virginian Haynes up into the top 9. Tyler Tyone jumps to the pits immediately. The Canadian, at what is his closest thing to a home track, falls off the racing circuit. Look at that. It looks like the Canadian may have just disconnected or straight up given up. Check out the four-wheel drift out of Moss. Jason Fensler trying to hold off Bailey down the Mario Andretti straightaway. 0.7 of a second, the gap now. Special Ed in the chat says, let's go, boys. He's cheering for his favorite drivers tonight. Samuel L. Harrell, the Richmond winner, goes for a spin in Moss Corner. Not a good look for Sam. And he's been overtaken by Sam. Sam Taylor, that is, in the number 1, takes advantage. He flies down the Mario Andretti straightaway, now in the 11th position. Rookie Matt Mingo also goes for a spin in Moss. There is the Liquid Death Machine being followed by Pat Jenks in the 38. Here comes the Pennsylvanian. Tristan Bailey now trying to make his move on California's Jason Fensler. This for the race lead headed into Moss. Will he be kind to his competitor? No, this is not before Moss just yet. Pardon me. This is getting close to Moss, I should say. There it is, the entry of turn 4. And, oh, look at that. Fensler getting loose, headed into the Moss complex. Clicking all the wrong buttons at the wrong time. Fatal, a.k.a. Tyler Tyone, says, forget this stuff. He is not happy at all, and he has decided to throw in the white towel and quit at his home track. Shame for Tyone. He could have made up plenty of places looking at those points, not the track facts. Tyone coming into this race, only 5 markers off of making the playoffs, and Tyone shooting his playoff hopes in the foot. All it took was a bit of patience. And then Tyler Bellinger, also Tyler Bellinger, also frustrated as well. He's also decided to call it quits for the day. So Tyone and Bellinger will give up early, and it's a shame to see a couple of drivers give up on lap 6 of a 35-lap event. Jason Fensler certainly in no position to give up. He leads Tristan Bailey by 0.3 of a second. Special Ed saying, yikes. Ed also not a fan of quitters as well. We've got Tuan Bellinger and Tyone. They'll be done for the day of their own volition. The regular season finale never guaranteed to be easy. There are no guarantees at all that this track would be delightful in any way. Tyone saying this track was dumb to have. Obviously not a fan. And Tyler Bellinger, another one of our 2 quitters tonight, also not a fan of having to turn right. Ken 10 says the same thing. Y'all mad y'all can't turn right and left. Read us in the chat. He's hissing a bit with that creeper face. Jason Fensler, Tristan Bailey leading. Jorge Rincon in the 3rd position by 8 seconds as they peel out of turns 7, 8, 9, and 10. Kyle Ben Swan says, big yunk. A lot of drivers chiming in after seeing the first two quitters of the evening. Fensler and Bailey still rocking the show at the front. Further on, Samuel Harrell now working on the inside of Sam Taylor. Pardon me, getting confused with Taylor and Tyler. Taylor on the back end of that top 10. Sammy Harrell staying in 11th. Patrick Jenks, 18 seconds behind. Jenks, one of those drivers that fell off the racetrack, but still persevering nonetheless. Bellinger in the chat, wishing good luck to the rest of his rivals that have decided to give the race their very best. Sam Taylor in 10th, that's Doug King in 9th, and look at Charlie Mosley Jr. rocking some new colors. The number 89 Gear Wrench Silverado, trading in those Crimson Tide colors for those black and orange Gear Wrench digs, and heavy damage to the left-hand side of his truck. Waylon Turner also had an incident on lap 7, one track going around. Is it Harrell? It is indeed. There goes Sammy Harrell in the 43, who just lost the back end. Have a look. There's the entry into 4. You just see him lose it. Let's go back and look at Waylon Turner, who had an incident. This is in the 78, the Hypersport Tundra. This is out of Moss, and he just gives it a bit too vigorous of a swing. Waylon Turner, however, still in that 4th position, persevering, but now he's got a mirror full of Dylan Picklesmeyer. Turner breaking out up ahead of Picklesmeyer by 0.6 of a second. Now going through 3 and 4, headed into the Moss complex. The 78 ahead of the 12. There you see Picklesmeyer give it a big wiggle. Headed into the turn 5 complex, Moss as we've been calling it. A difficult challenge indeed. Let's look back to Sam Taylor in the 1. His truck is junked at the front, but he's still in the top 10. Dougie King up ahead in a pristine 16 Silverado, also headed into that turn 4 and 5 complex. Look at King really pouncing off of those curbs. He's got Taylor all over his back end. Sam Taylor throws it in deep into Moss, and he will come away with the 9th position. Textbook pass by Samuel L. Taylor. Matt Mingo falls off the track. Let's see what happened to the 59. He's in 13th. Oh, just goes way too hot into the corner. But look at that. Nice recovery by Mingo. Bama Trama enters the chat. Patrick Jenks falls off the racing surface. Let's have a look at the 38. This is into Moss. Put on the Tokyo Drift music for Pat. He almost had a nice 4-wheel drift through that double apex, but he's back on the Andretti straightaway. At the front, however, Tristan Bailey has gotten around the 5 of Jason Fensler, and he now has a 1-second advantage. Have a look at this. And there's Fensler having to really get on the binders to avoid getting in the back end of Bailey. There's Jenks once again sliding off. And then Jason Fensler really trying to put the chase to Tristan Bailey. Looks like he just went into the corner a bit too hot. There's the drift out of the 5. This is down the hill into Moss. Look at the sweeping corner there. You see Jason Fensler struggling to get the power under braking. Tristan Bailey up ahead by 0.6 of a second to Elk Grove's Jason Fensler. Jorge Rincon almost 10 seconds off the pace of the top 2, but Rincon, as we mentioned earlier, there's the 59 of Mingo going off track again. We mentioned earlier to some of the drivers, if you just make no mistakes, you will be there in the end to get a top 5. And look at Jorge Rincon in that 28 truck. He comes into this race 18th in the points standings. Tyler Tyone in the 14th position has decided he wants no part of this. He has given up in this race. Looking at those points, Michael Carter needs to get into the top 12, and Carter finds himself, unfortunately, 60 points away from the top 12. Chris Fathke, he has not started tonight's race. We'll see if Fathke makes the playoffs by tomorrow morning. Sam Taylor, Dylan Picklesmeyer, Waylon Turner, Patrick Jenks, and Sammy Harrell all still in this race and may have just locked themselves into the playoffs through perseverance in the first place. And how about rookie Matt Mingo, who's still in this race, the 59 Toyota Tundra, trucking along in 13th. Mingo out of Moss Corner. He's behind Patrick Jenks by 59 seconds. They're officially one lap apart. Tristan Bailey in the 2.5 as Jason Fensler all over the back end of his 2.5. Will the Mississippi driver leave the door open? This is headed into 4. Quite the difficult racetrack. Tyler B. in the chat says, go Fensler. Bellinger comes into this race 4th in the point standings. He's locked in to this playoffs, so throwing in the towel and giving up on lap 3 will not affect Bellinger in this race whatsoever. Both of the leaders coming up on Patrick Jenks in the 11th position. If you've recently tuned in, I'm Rick James. You're watching the AER Trucks Series regular season final from Canadian Tire Motorsports Park. Our resident Canadian Tyler Tyone quitting early, so not a good look for the home driver, and Canadian fans the world over now disappointed. Bailey leading Fensler by 1 second, but Fensler still keeping the pressure. Up to the Mississippi driver, Jorge Rincon, 18 seconds ahead of Jamie Haynes. And Dylan Picklesmeyer, 8 seconds off of 4th place. He's kept his number 12 Tide ride in dire straits, but still in fighting shape. Look at the right-hand side of that truck. You'll have a look headed into 4. It is ruined. Bit of a blink from him. Matt Mingo goes for a spin off the final corner. Was it just a bit too much gas, Matty? Have a listen. And by the time you realize it, it's already too late. So Mingo in the 13th position, 8 seconds behind Sam Harrell. Waylon Turner leaving pit lane after getting his truck repaired. Turner is in the 10th position. He's the last truck on the lead lap. There is race leader Tristan Bailey. Jason Fensler just behind him. Dylan Picklesmeyer really mounting those curbs, going for a rough ride through turns 8 and 9. He's following the 6 of Michael Carter, who's worked his way into the 3rd position. The 5th, 6th, and 7th place truck, Carter, Picklesmeyer, and Mosley, each have gained 3 places from where they started this race. Fatal saying, I have no love for this like I used to, explaining why he threw in the towel and decided to hit that escape button into the 3rd lap. Tyler Bellinger saying he planned to start and park this race as well. So both of those drivers with no intention to finish this one. Tristan Bailey, however, he's got all the intention in the world to keep it moving. He's moving in the lead, but look at the four-wheel drift out of the 25. It may be a question of who saves their tires the most. Sam Harrell has crashed. Big damage for the 43 truck, the Richmond winner. Into this race on the bubble in points. Harrell sitting 12th. Christopher Fathke not present. Tyler Tyone choosing to quit 3 laps into the 35-lap event, and that may just be enough to keep Harrell in the playoffs. And who knew he wouldn't have to race his way into this one. He would just have to survive and wait for others to make way for him. Tristan Bailey still ahead of Jason Fensler, but only by 1/2 of a second. The track facts predicting that drivers will be able to go between 15 and 20 laps on one fuel run. Elite in the chat says Tyler stinks. And Elite also letting us know what he thinks of quitters in this league as well. Tyler Bellinger deciding to throw in the towel and catching the ire of fans on the internet. Jason Fensler now closed within 1/4 of a second to Mississippi's Tristan Bailey. This is the battle for the lead about to complete lap 13. North Carolinian Dylan Picklesmeyer sits 1 second behind Michael Carter in the 6th. There is the 6th truck out of Moss. The Alabaman trying to hold off that 12 car as he advances down the straightaway. Have a listen. Carter sitting in that 5th position, up 3 places from where he started. Has Carter gone around? Bad angle from that drone camera. He has not gone around, just the camera playing tricks on us. Carter sits in that 5th position. He's got Picklesmeyer behind him. Charlie Mosley Jr. in the 7th spot. There is Carter and Picklesmeyer, nose to tail, about to hit Moss Corner. There you see on the track facts, that little square bit, that's where the trucks are now. Let's show you an overhead view so you can see just what it looks like. That double apex is where these drivers find themselves. And now onto that very long Mario Andretti straightaway. That straightaway leads into turns 8, 9, and 10 to complete this extremely long lap in Ontario. Picklesmeyer is in. He's decided it's time for him to come down, possibly get some of those tires and fuel. 15 laps in, right on time, with 20 circuits remaining in this race. Picklesmeyer has said enough is enough. Tristan Bailey down the straightaway with Jason Fensler 1 second behind him. Same distance from 5th to 6th. Charlie Mosley Jr. closing in on Michael Carter now. Let's have a ride. Mosley going for a big spill. Out of 4. This is headed into Moss now. Carter doing a good job holding on to that top 5 spot. Mosley Jr. and Doug King now our joint hardest chargers of the race. Dougie's up 4 places from where he started. He's on the back end of the top 10. Jamie Haynes goes off the track in big fashion. The Stewart Virginian mowing that Ontario lawn. Carter 19 seconds behind him, so no worry for Michael Carter. Although in the long run, if it comes down to a couple of trucks within a few seconds of each other, it's these mistakes here that will affect where these drivers finish. Now, most of these drivers locked into the playoffs. Charlie Mosley Jr. getting around Michael Carter. This for the 5th position. Mosley Jr. Where does he find himself in these points? 7th in the points standings. You see Charlie Mosley highlighted in green. He is locked in to those 5 race playoffs. Those will start in 2 weeks. We'll have a week's break and then go on to the Bristol Motor Speedway on August the 29th to keep the Truck Series celebrations going. It'll be 5 races to the finish. Special Ed saying it's pit time, and then he asks the question, does 3 and 4 pit now and try to make it up on the top 2? At this point, it may not even be possible. 15 seconds is the difference from Jason Fensler in 2nd to Jorge Rincon in the 3rd position. Will anybody try and make it? On one stop, Mosley Jr. has crashed. He falls out of the top 5, and the Mobile, Alabama pilot has really wrenched that orange and black Silverado. Let's see what happened to him going into Moss. He just goes a bit too wide and he loses control of the truck. Luckily, everybody else avoids him. Sam Taylor, Michael Carter able to go around the Alabama pilot 2.7 seconds off of the 6th position. Michael Carter has decided to dive down pit road. He is in for tires and fuel. Douglas King crashed while we were having a look at Charlie Mosley. Let's have a look at DK. Just gets the left rear on the grass, loses grip, and he slams hard into that turn 2, it looks like, retaining barrier. King sitting in the 10th position, 20 seconds ahead of Patrick Jenks. Picklesmeyer goes green. 1:26.37 seconds for the North Carolinian. He's in the 8th position right now, just run his fastest lap of the race. Tristan Bailey, did he come down pit road or did he go off the racetrack? What happened to Bailey? Bailey did have a skid. There goes race leader Tristan Bailey, who just lost control of his race truck. This is into the first corner. Have a look. Coming in way too hot, and this is what we were talking about. Mistakes like this that can cost you the race win and ultimately may just cost him the regular season championship. Again, Bailey has led laps today. That'll be a bonus point for him. And of course, 6 points. The gap between them, second place, may just be enough for Tristan Bailey. He's got a 9-second advantage to Jorge Rincon, but in the last 3 races, remember that Bailey has DNF'd one of them. By the numbers, he has DNF'd 1/3 of the last 3 races. Will Bailey persevere to the end? There he goes one more time, giving it a big slide out of turn number 9. Makes it okay through turn 10. Fensler has decided he's going to come in, so then Bailey re-inherits the lead at the top of the order. It needs to be a mistake-free race for him. Douglas King has also had a crash. And there is the 2-5. Tristan Bailey makes it through A-OK this time around. All eyes on him, Jorge Rincon. In that 2-8. He sits in that second position, and Rincon goes off. There goes the Californian, or the Agua Dulce native, excuse me. I always think he's from Sacramento. He's not. Rincon is from Agua Dulce. He goes off the racetrack, headed into turn number 3, it looks like, and now he's got some work to do to make up that gap he's just left behind. Tristan Bailey, 14 seconds up ahead of the competition. He's out of Moss now, hard on the gas. Jason Fensler has gone off the racetrack, and all the advantage that the Californian has built up thrown away on cold tires. And is this the regular season championship being thrown in the garbage by Jason Fensler. Let's have a look and see the mistake that the Californian has made. Fresh out of the pits on cold tires, Fensler missed his mark. No grip on those cold Goodyears and slam into that outside retaining barrier with the tires. Just got out of the pits as well. Hopefully Fensler doesn't have any lasting damage or it's going to force him to come in. Tristan Bailey has decided it's his turn to come down pit road. Rincon follows suit. Jason Fensler, who otherwise would have had an incredible advantage on these two, throwing it away in turn number 3. And Fensler now just has all of that work to make back up. He's going to have to hope for another mistake from the 25. Dylan Picklesmeyer all over the black back end of Waylon Turner. The Hypersport Tundra sitting just ahead of the Tide Ford. And these two trucks will now do battle down the Mario Andretti straightaway. It's going to be 14 laps to go next time by. Did Bailey fall off the racetrack once again? Let's have a look at Tristan Bailey now. He did indeed. A spill for Bailey. More drama and rare mistakes from the leaders, one right after the other. And look at Charlie Mosley Jr. He wants a little more camera time, just sliding through the action. Let's see what happened to Charlie. And this is already just falling off the racetrack. Let's see. It just looks like the same thing. Cold tires, turn 3. And there's Jason Fensler watching what happened to him happen to others. There is the 5 truck, and this is what 5 seconds looks like back to Carrier, Mississippi's Tristan Bailey. Fensler leading by 5 seconds, 14 laps to go. This time by rare mistakes coming out of the leaders. And this is where the drama comes in. The regular season finale being hosted at a road course. What could have been for Cornwall, Ontario's Tyler Tyone, who decided to throw in the towel on lap 3 after one spin when the leaders themselves are out here falling off the racing surface. You just never know. And as the saying goes, if you don't buy a ticket, you do not win the raffle. Jason Fensler leading by 4.5 seconds. Tristan Bailey really giving it everything he's got. Both of these drivers pitting 1 lap apart. Everybody except Dylan Picklesmeyer has decided to come in. Picklesmeyer just outside that 20-lap predicted green flag pit window. 86 miles doesn't seem like a lot, but when it's a 2.5-mile race course, it's quite a bit. They've been racing here for over 60 years. The Truck Series, no stranger to this racetrack, although the last winner here was some hotshot by the name of Chase Elliott. Elite Legacy 94 says, dang, Fensler. His 5-second lead absolutely diminished. Tristan Bailey now on the attack. There is the battle between them. Fensler just went purple, and Bailey just beat him immediately afterwards by 0.9 of a second. There is the gap between Jason Fensler and Tristan Bailey. It is just dwindling, and don't know why that's happening. Let's try and show it this way. 1:23.38 seconds. The Mississippi pilot puts in the fastest lap of the race so far. Jorge Rincon, 9.5 seconds behind. Not sure what Picklesmeyer is waiting on. There will be no cautions expected in this race. Those are the words of race control. But really trying to make sure he can push those tires all the way to the end. Not sure. I don't know if he's trying to make it on no stops whatsoever. Unlike Formula One, a tire change is not mandated in these trucks, nor is it in the AER Trucks Series. So Picklesmeyer really trying for, going yard. And why not? A good chance for him. Michael Carter sits 9 seconds behind him. Tristan Bailey has worked his way to within 3 seconds of Jason Fensler, coming to a dozen laps remaining. The math tells you that Bailey will get around Fensler. Tyler B says the 12 was the first to pit, used as fast repair. Not sure about that. My telemetry must be messed up, showing the 12 hasn't pitted yet, but no worries. Fensler leading Bailey 2.5 seconds the gap, and on this Mario Andretti straightaway, you're going to see these times just dwindle. There goes Fensler with a big skid out of Moss. And watch on the left-hand side. You're going to see that time come down within 2 seconds now. Bailey on the hunt. Charlie Mosley fell off the track earlier. Let's have a look at the 89. And there's Mosley going off in turn number 3. Tyler B reminding us that the right side of that 5 truck is ruined. Here goes Tristan Bailey with an undamaged Chevrolet, working on the number 5 Silverado of Jason Fensler, and that damage making all of the difference for the 25. It's just a waiting game now. Will Bailey squeeze just a bit tighter and turn that screw a bit deeper into that 5, or will he wait for a mistake coming? 25 closing that gap, headed into Moss. It's going to be 10 laps to go next time by. Plenty of passing opportunity. Down the Mario Andretti straight. Jason Fensler leading Tristan Bailey half a second now the gap into turn 8. When will Bailey pick his moment to attack? Patrick Jenks making way for the race leaders going through turn number 10. Down the straight, Bailey gets right to the inside of the 5. Close enough to use the bumper, but he decides to let it go. 10 circuits remain at the 2.5 mile Canadian Tire Motorsports Park. Tristan Bailey getting all over those curbs, watching Jason Fensler really roll the weight of that pickup truck through turn 1, through 2. When will Bailey pick that moment? It is a game of cat and mouse now with these pickup trucks. The Mississippi driver looking for his 6th win this season. 10 wins between these top 2 in their previous 14 starts. And it looks like it's going to be, 9 wins. It looks like it's going to be 10 wins today between these two in 15 starts. 66% of the wins going to Tristan Bailey and Jason Fensler. Both of these two putting on a masterclass this season, and nobody would blame you for thinking that either of these drivers are in the best contention to win the playoffs. Remember, we're going to take a week's break, and then we'll finish the season in 5 consecutive races. Bristol, Ohio, Charlotte, Kansas, and Phoenix. Tristan Bailey doing it the hard way. On the outside, you'll have the advantage into turn number 10. And the Mississippi pilot with 9 laps to go finally waits no longer. The heavily damaged truck of Jason Fensler just can't keep up with the pristine, clean machine of the 25. Sam Taylor spins out right in front of the race leader. The one spinning out right in front of the race leaders. That's Sam Taylor. Both of those drivers having to make a quick snap decision and get around that. Tyler B says those two are only leading because Nick Gowen isn't here. Gowen with an impressive win rate himself. Nick Gowen has 2 wins in 4 starts, I think, this season. The best winning percentage of any driver so far in this series. Let's have another look at Sam Taylor. He crashed out of turn number 1. Just got on the curbs. It upset the weight. He smacks the inside wall of turn 1, goes for a big spill, and he goes head first into the inside wall. Tyler B saying Gowen is amazing at road courses. What a wild card that would have been, seeing Nick go for his 3rd win in 5 starts this season. It's amazing to see what those part-timers can do when you just think, man, if they only had a full season, what sort of damage could they just wreak on this entire field? Dougie King goes around. He's had a big crash in the 16. Doug finds himself in 9th. That's Picklesmeyer behind him. This not for position. King just gets in the grass on the inside of turn 3. Comes to a halt, keeps it pushing. He's up 5 places so far. Doug is our hardest charger of the race. Patrick Jenks, 21 seconds behind him. Dylan Picklesmeyer goes off the track in Moss. He gets onto the Andretti straightaway. Patrick Jenks also falls off the racetrack. Here comes the 2.8 of Jorge Rincon running in that 3rd position. Rincon to the inside of Jenks, and he will proceed undisturbed. Jamie Haynes, however, 7 seconds behind Jorge Rincon. Over the last 5 laps, you can see he's been chipping away at that advantage. 1.2 seconds is what Haynes made up on Rincon that last time around. Let's have a look at Doug King. He's fallen off the track once again. Not a good look for Doug. The leaders go by the 16. Right in front of Michael Carter. Let's have a look at this from Michael Carter's point of view. Carter avoiding that one without even having to flinch. Good move for him. Doug King has decided he's going to jump right to the pits, and it looks like Charlie Mosley Jr. has decided to throw in the towel as well. He is out of this race with 7 circuits remaining. Tristan Bailey leading Jason Fensler by 1.7 seconds. 6 laps to go. Next time by. Fensler with an incredibly damaged truck doing his best to hold on. There's Michael Carter in 7th. The last truck running on the lead lap. Dylan Picklesmeyer ahead of him by 2.25 seconds. Patrick Jenks running into trouble. There goes the Pennsylvanian. Let's see what happened to him. Jamie Haynes also off in Moss. Looks like Haynes was just trying to avoid the 38 truck, and both of these guys doing some extracurriculars in turn 5 before they get onto the blast down the Andretti straightaway. Michael Carter and Dylan Picklesmeyer separated by almost 2.5 seconds headed into turn 3. Race leader Tristan Bailey getting around that number 6, or at least trying to put him a lap down, leaving just 6 competitors on the lead lap, and that's exactly what he does. Dylan Picklesmeyer next on the list. The 1-2 tide ride going through the double apex of Moss. It will be 5 laps to go next time by. If you've recently tuned in, I'm Rick James. You're watching the 15th and final round of the AER regular season. Race leader Tristan Bailey has an almost 3-second advantage to Jason Fensler in an extremely damaged Number 5, Silverado. Fensler running beautifully well until making a mistake on cold tires cost him a chance at winning this race. The number 5 just trying to hold on and survive for a top 3. Jorge Rincon 14 seconds behind him. And over the last 5 laps, Fensler quicker than Rincon despite the damaged truck. So Jorge looks like he might just hold on to the bronze medal if he can stay mistake-free. But hats off to the driver from Agua Dulce because he has not made a single mistake all night long. And it's what I was talking about with some of these drivers before the race started. Go slow, make no mistakes. You'll be there at the end. And look at Rincon. He is 14 seconds off the top 2. However, he is clean, pristine, and on pace to get his bronze medal tonight. Rincon comes into this race 18th in points. It's unlikely that he'll qualify for these playoff positions. Doug King making way for Rincon quite fantastically. Let's have a look for Doug. He's on cold tires as he just left pit lane. There goes King just trying to catch that truck. Nothing he could do when he backs it into the tires off of turn number 3. And he's still stuck there, as a matter of fact. Maybe Doug has decided he's just going to sit there and collect his thoughts, contemplate the meaning of life for a bit. (25, 5, and 28). Your top 3. There are the drivers that are locked into the playoffs. In green, the drivers in blue, not locked in. Their positions still tentative. Christopher Fathke in red, not locked in. He did not start tonight's race. He may not make the playoffs. Sammy Harrell, Patrick Jenks, Waylon Turner, Dylan Picklesmeyer, all still running in this race, and that may be enough for them to qualify for the playoffs. Tyler Tyone in 14th started tonight's race. He will collect last place points. He threw in the towel on lap number 3 and decided he did not want a part of this race, and that will cost him a spot in the playoffs. 3 to go this time by for Mississippi's Tristan Bailey. Hats off to this rookie as well, Matt Mingo, only starting his AER truck career a few weeks ago, but he has done his best to finish every race he has started. Mingo sitting in 11th right now, and through perseverance, Matt just might find himself gaining a few places in the points standings. Good resilience by the rookie. Well, he's trying. You gotta give him that. He's trying. He's got the pride of Maine on his shoulders, and always good to make an effort. Dylan Picklesmeyer 3 seconds ahead of Mike Carter. There's Carter in the 6, and over the last 5 laps, has Carter been gaining anything on Dylan Picklesmeyer? There you see it's not consistent, but Carter not letting Picklesmeyer run away with the show. Carter making a mistake a few laps ago, allowing Picklesmeyer to be 3 seconds quicker than him, but the lap after that, Carter 2 seconds quicker than Picklesmeyer. We'll see what the times say this last lap around. 3 seconds the gap between them. There is Picklesmeyer now exiting Moss Corner. Michael Carter entering just behind him, and both of these drivers will now blast down the straightaway. Tristan Bailey ahead of Jason Fensler by 7 seconds. 2 laps to go now. Less than 5 miles remains for the Mississippi pilot to win his 6th race of the season and claim that regular season crown that he has been wanting for so long. Bailey will put a wonderful cap on his regular season campaign, and 2 weeks from now he will start his playoff campaign with a great 6 chips on his shoulder. Only 1 chip that matters for the Mississippi pilot. Jason Fensler, on the other hand, looking to learn a lot, possibly a lesson in patience, as the right side of that number 5 might tell you. Cold tires on the 5 led to a big mistake in turn number 3 that has destroyed the right-hand side of that Silverado and possibly thrown away the regular season title for Jason Fensler. Who knows? But what we do know is Fensler is locked into the playoffs by a good margin, and we'll see him in 2 weeks from the Bristol Motor Speedway. Matt Mingo falls off the track once again, or maybe he just wants to say hi to his friend Doug King, who's still embedded into the wall. Matt Mingo literally coming to a halt right in front of Doug King. I think he actually wants to say hi to Doug. That's pretty cute. Tristan Bailey has the white flag. Less than 2.4 miles to go for the Mississippi pilot. Jason Fensler also has that same white flag, and Jorge Rincon will now collect it for himself down that front straight. Jamie Haynes in the 4th position. Waylon Turner, the last truck on the lead lap. There is Matt Mingo finally watching his friend Doug jump to the pits, and Mingo coming off the racetrack as well. Possibly just trying to say hi to the fans at Motorsport. There's Jason Fensler, and Matt Mingo just takes the scenic route around the rest of the track, probably just trying to take in the sights. Who can blame him? It's a lovely facility. Less than half a lap remains for Mississippi's Tristan Bailey. The 8.7 second lead, all but a certainty for the Mississippi driver, and hard work and determination over the last 15 races has led to this moment, but the work is not done yet. He gets 1 week of a break, and then it's on to the playoffs. Tristan Bailey wins at Canadian Tire. Jason Fensler off that final corner comes home in 2nd. Jorge Rincon will collect 3rd. An impressive run for Bailey, winning the race by 14 seconds. We'll have a word from Tristan Bailey, Jason Fensler, and Jorge Rincon at the end of the race. Jamie Haynes comes home in 4th. Waylon Turner, how about Turner, finishing in 5th. Dylan Picklesmeyer coming home 6th. Michael Carter 7th. Sam Taylor still running his race, will finish in 8th. Patrick Jenks in 9th. Dougie King in 10th. How about rookie Matt Mingo coming home in the 11th position? Well done for him. But it's this driver who takes home all the awards, all the candy, all the prizes. Mississippi's Tristan Bailey with a 6th victory this season. Well deserved, well earned. And he'll have a important celebration coming up. So as Tristan burns the house down, we're going to collect our top 3 fans. Don't go anywhere. Tristan Bailey wins the race today. Jason Fensler in 2nd. Jorge Rincon with the bronze medal. We'll have the podium in just a moment. On the podium now with our top 2 finishers in tonight's race, starting with Elk Grove, California's Jason Fensler. Jay, you managed to look the championship in the face and say, I don't want it, but it hardly matters. You'll be second headed into the playoffs in 2 weeks.
Yeah, it was a crazy race. I told myself not to make a mistake, and of course I did. So it's part of it. It was a good race. Tristan had a good truck. I was just trying to save some tire there because it seemed like it was blowing the rear tires off of it. But we'll take the P2 and move on to the playoffs.
2 weeks from now, we'll see you at the Bristol Motor Speedway. Is there anything you can do to stop the dominance from the 25 team?
I would just keep doing what we're doing. I mean, we got fast trucks. We just need to limit the mistakes and take care of it and let it play out.
Congratulations on your second place in the regular season. We'll see you in a fortnight.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Race winner and regular season champion by 12 points. Tristan Bailey, 6 wins this season, and now all but the last 5 races to finish. The points are going to reset. You'll have a small advantage with bonus points headed into that Bristol round 2 weeks from now. What's the strategy here? Is there anything to learn? What can we gain and improve on headed into the playoffs?
Consistency. That's probably really what you need to do, just be more consistent, just to make the final round, and just have that final round race. So just got to be smart, make good decisions. Bristol coming up, and I think what's at the Bristol, Iowa too.
Bristol, Iowa, Charlotte, Kansas, and the season championship round at Phoenix. Where do you see a weakness?
I don't know. It could be anywhere. I mean, you get caught up in a bad thing at Bristol, you can get caught up in a bad thing in Iowa. It's just about, just like I said, just being consistent, being smart, not trying to push it when you don't need to.
We'll see you in 2 weeks' time. Congratulations on that regular season championship and your 6th victory of the season.
Thank you, man.
A thrilling race at Canadian Tire Motorsports Park. Thrills, spills all over the racetrack. And now we have our 12 drivers ready to do battle 2 weeks from now. Special mention to Jorge Rincon finishing 3rd in the race today. Jamie Haynes will also collect the bronze medal in tonight's regular season championship points. Unofficially, I might add. We get a week's break, and then the real work begins. 160 laps from the Bristol Motor Speedway 2 weeks from now. Don't forget, fans, Thursday night, we're going to have Thursday Night Thunder and another die-cast giveaway, so stay tuned for that. Congratulations to Tristan Bailey winning his 6th race of the season and the regular season title. And until that next race, everybody please stay safe. Do take care of each other, and we will see you all around.